What's good with y'all, man? It's Scope back on another video on the channel. In today's video, today we cooking up, man. I'm gonna be showing you guys how to get some color correction done, CC as they call it, on Adobe Photoshop 2020. This will work with whatever version that you got though. It's a lot easier than it looks, and a lot of people have been asking me how I make photos like this, or how I blend skin tones like this, or like this.
What the fuck was that?
So hey man, it's all good stuff that we're gonna be learning today. Make sure you guys drop a like down below, comment, and subscribe. I see y'all that aren't subscribing. I see y'all. So make sure y'all do that. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Alright y'all, so you want to get your pictures to look like this and like this, right? But have their skins like matching up and stuff like that. So it is kind of tough. It can be tough, but we're gonna get to it. All right, so the first thing that we do is I got two pictures of Zion Williamson on screen, and I decided that I'm gonna use this photo as with the background instead of with this background. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and use the pen tool. The shortcut is P, and let's just get Zion all masked out. I can fast forward through this. I've shown you guys plenty of times how to use the pen tool. If you're still stuck, just look at my past tutorials. But we're just going to use the pen tool and go around Zion very carefully, but also not take too much time. So I'm going to fast forward through that, and I'll be back with you guys. Alright, so now we got our selection. What I do is I make a mask from it. So I hit this little button over here with the little circle in the middle. I don't know what exactly that shape is called. It just looks weird anyway. So I hit that button, and then we got our mask. Then I add a duplicate. So I press Control J to add a duplicate, and I delete the layer mask underneath so that we still have our background. And I'm noticing from the Getty images that I downloaded, it always usually has these little three stripes. So you want to go ahead and just get rid of those. So I just use the lasso tool usually. Go in there, make just little selections. They don't gotta be precise, and then content aware, fill those out. Okay, and then if you have any extra over, just use the mixer brush, and that'll take care of it. So that's fine right there. All right, so now we have to do the same thing and mask out the next Zion. Let's see if this loads. We gotta mask out the next Zion that will be sitting behind him. So let's go ahead and do that. Same thing, we're gonna use the pen tool. I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna hit that layer mask button. So we got our selection of him from that to that. But now I wanna work on the hair. So I'm gonna make a duplicate, delete the layer mask so we have the background just in case. We probably won't come back to this background, but just in case. And let's go on the mask options for this. And I'm gonna use the feather tool to get that hair to a better standard of what I want. For some reason my brush tool hasn't been working on the just brackets for mixing it up, but you know, we gotta adjust to it. So I'm just changing the size manually, and then press on decontaminate colors, and I usually set it to like 74ish, and then new layer with layer mask. All right, so then there we go, and it's more blended. The hair is more blended. It's not just like straight hair. So now we're gonna go back onto this layer, and all my photos I usually use in 4:5. So I press C for the crop ratio, and I use 4:5 ratio. And then you're just gonna press the check mark once you're set with it. And then let's add in the second Zion. All right. So now we added in the second Zion, but wait a minute, because this image size it's right around 1090. So hold up. We're gonna get rid of it for a minute. I'm gonna resize it to 1080 just so you guys know. 1080 by 1350 is like the Instagram size. That's max Instagram size for 4:5. So make sure you use those dimensions. So now I'm gonna add them back in again, and let's see, where do we want to place him? We gotta place him at a point where it's gonna make sense. So it can't be like too close to him, or if it is too close to him, we gotta adjust the size. And a good way to check by that is kind of by just entering a guide. So just enter a guide. I use horizontal guides a lot. So if Zion's, his bottom is right there. I'll just say bottom is right there. So he's gonna be, his forehead won't be at the same point. It's gonna be a little bit lower. So I'm just matching the forehead. So it's gonna be like that probably. And you just gotta play around with it. I'm gonna just experiment a little bit, then I'll get right back to you guys. And I don't know about y'all, but I think that looks pretty good for a point. All right, so now we could always adjust that at the end, but now let's start getting into just making sure that these skin tones match up. So the first thing that I do a lot of the time, this actually isn't that much off from the skin tones, so this isn't gonna be too hard to show you guys. But okay, so go down to this semicircle. I already had added it, my fault, but you add a curves adjustment layer, right? So add that curves adjustment layer on that semicircle. It's in there, and then we're gonna clip it to this layer. So clip it to that layer. All right, and here's what you guys gotta understand. You gotta press Control and Alt. Alt on the Mac is Command. So you're gonna hold down Control and Alt, and then you're gonna click on the Auto feature, okay? And then from the Auto feature, find dark and light colors. You're gonna pick on that. Now, on your guys' computer, you can probably just use the eyedropper tool and just pick the darkest shades and then the lightest shades. But for shadows, some reason my computer, the shadows don't really work that well, so I gotta do it manually. But I don't really complain. I never complain about things like these. But you gotta just work with what you can. So you're gonna just go to a shadow. If you can't pick the darkest and lightest, go to a shadow, and then you're gonna pick what looks the darkest of the picture. So I see this purple, I see this underlay of purple. I'm gonna go to that purple, and I'm gonna start trying to match those colors in. So as you can see, it's already looking a little bit more realistic to the photo. And I'm gonna stay on that color palette. We can probably use a little bit of blue, just cause the blue towards the purple, just because I see the color of the jersey that Zion has on. So now I'm gonna accept it like that, and then this is before, this is after. Okay, before and after, you can always adjust it after. So you can go on your curves and adjust it after. Just see, now I'm just gonna play around with it a little bit like that. And honestly, you can honestly do the same thing on this one, because the more close that you get these colors matching, the better it's gonna look. So I'm gonna do the same thing on this one. We're gonna go to purple. Obviously it's not gonna be as purple, or as tinted as I should say, but there. And then for highlights, let's go to like right here, something like this. Something happened on here. Okay, we're not gonna save it as target colors. And then I'm gonna mess around on this one a little bit with the curves. Alright, so the next thing that you're gonna want to do is see how he is a lot darker than Zion on this one. So what you're gonna want to do on this one, or on this one, you could, I'm gonna add it to this one right here. I'm gonna add the selective color. So selective color is also in that semicircle logo. And on selective color, what you're gonna want to really utilize is you're gonna want to utilize your reds and your yellows, because reds and yellows are like, those are what brings out colors in skin, like the reds and yellows. So if you're gonna add that, and then you're gonna just kind of just start seeing what looks best, what doesn't look as good, and you're gonna start adjusting, and you're gonna see that these adjustments are gonna help you get to the point of the skin color that you need. And already you can start seeing these differences. All right, so let's zoom back out. Now it's looking like, all right, he's actually in this scene. This was before, just like pasted in. Now look at him now. He's already looking like he's in the scene. So we're gonna add another selective color. We're gonna add it to the OG picture, I'd say, of Zion. And we're gonna do the same thing. We're just gonna go along, and we're gonna try and bring out the colors that we see on each of them and match them accordingly. Nothing too crazy, guys. It's all about eye recognition. As you do this more, you're gonna see that your eyes recognize these colors a lot easier, and it's just gonna become easy, man. It's just repetition and just practice. It's not rocket science, man. Anybody can do it. So now we're seeing these colors come into fruition, right? And I'm noticing, just from my eyes, I'm noticing a little bit of orange that's kind of highlighting his face on the background Duke one. So I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna add a little, just a blank layer. Then I'm gonna take my brush. I'm gonna change it to a soft brush. Turn the flow down, of course. Always turn the flow down because you don't want to just start painting just random colors on them. And now let's go and let's put some color on them. Just some soft brushing, and then we're gonna change the colors after. But this is what we're doing. We're just mixing the colors up and matching them to what we kind of see from the other one, and that's really how you're gonna get this done. Not everywhere. You're just gonna paint these colors on some of the spots you see. Just not everywhere. Of course, you don't want to go too crazy. So now I put it on soft light usually. So now I put that on soft light, right? So that layer's on soft light. I'm going to convert it to a smart object, and I'm going to blur it. I'm going to see what blur looks the best. I blurred it to about 13, about 16.6 worked for this. It's always gonna change, but this is before, this is after. And then you can also drop the flow just to make it blend in even more. So look at that, y'all. There we go. It's already looking a lot better than before. And you see that this part of his face is kind of lit up. It's kind of very light compared to the other side. So I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna also add a curves adjustment, but don't worry, because it's not gonna be on his whole face. It's just gonna be on part of it. So I'm gonna drop that flow down again, and let's just add a little bit of brightness to his face. Just add a little bit of brightness. See, it's these little tiny touches that they're gonna make a big difference. And also, I didn't realize is I gotta feather out some of this mask. So let's go right back to the feather tool like we did on the Duke Zion Williamson one, and let's just feather out some of this hair. So we got this selection looking better. If this is helpful to you guys, make sure you guys are dropping a like, subbing up to the channel. Let me know what else you want to see from me. Always improving as well, so if you got any tips, just let me know too. I'm gonna add a little bit of curves on the arms, and now I'm also seeing that this has a little bit of excess. Always make sure to check, see if you got too much of one thing on there. This had a little bit of excess on it, so we're gonna delete those parts. We don't need those. So boom, and on the under part, just be careful. Control Z is undo. That's my favorite button. One of my favorite buttons. Just Control Z, as you never know when you're gonna mess up. All right. So now it really looks like they're in the same. Yeah, it looks like they're in the same environment. So that looks real cool. And the next thing that I'm gonna do is, since he's so close to him, he's gonna have a pretty strong shadow. So for shadows, I don't go straight to black and then color just like black on the soft brush, of course. I don't just color straight on black. I go to the soft brush first, and then I pick a dark spot of the skin. So when you pick a dark spot of the skin, the shadow is going to be more reflective to the actual skin, and it's not just going to be a black solid color. So now let's just we clipped it on. Let's drop our flow down, and let's start adding some shade, because the shade's going to be on this Zion. Let's add that shade on there. Even on here on the bottom, there's going to be shade. So add all of that shade, guys. Once you're happy with it, I usually put it on multiply. I think multiply does a really good job bringing out the dark highlights, or whatever you want to call it. I call them dark highlights, but that probably isn't grammatically correct, but we're not too worried about that. And then I drop down the flow. and now you got that shade on him as well. So I like to zoom out. This was before, this is after. You can see the drastic change. And so now let's get this all cleaned up. Let's add a layer mask onto it, and I'm gonna start taking off pieces, not taking off pieces, but getting rid of the pieces that are extra. Like this is extra right here. All that blue that you see is really extra and not needed. And so this blue is from, I think this is from a reflection. Let's check back. Yeah, this blue is from the floor reflection, I want to say. So we don't really want that blue on there. So what we're gonna do for that part is we're gonna use the mixer brush and whoops. Alright, let's rasterize the layer, and now we're gonna use the mixer brush and just start getting rid of some of that blue. I'm not sure why it's on the hard brush. That's not good. We don't want it on the hard brush. Let's turn the flow down, and we're gonna pick points and just coast along. Get that blue out of there as best as we can. Doesn't gotta be perfect, but mixer brush is gonna help you guys out a lot utilizing this. I mean, so there we go with that. Now, I didn't make a selection. What you guys want to do is make a selection so that doesn't happen, that under part, but it's okay because I can just switch back to my normal brush and get that out of there. So boom, like that. And then you're gonna come under here, clean this up as well. Alright, looks good. And now for this Zion that we just created, I'm going to make his reflection. So I'm going to group all these together, and I'm gonna duplicate, or not duplicate, I merged it. So I merged that together. I'm going to put this layer underneath, and we're going to control it, flip it vertically, and we're going to place it right where his fingers are connecting. Okay, place it right where his fingers are connecting, and then you're going to want to have his butt, pause, of course, you're going to want to have his butt match up to his butt, where his butt's sitting. So just make sure you're doing a good job with that. It's a reflection, so you don't have to get too detailed with it, only if you want, but it's always good to make sure your details are really good. So there we go, like that. It's gonna be just like that. And then I put it on soft light usually, so I put that on soft light right there. So now you can see that. Let's get rid of these marks. If you want to get rid of the control guidelines that you press, Control H is a shortcut for that, just so you don't see them real quick. You can put them on if you want again. So now I made a smart object, so I right click, made a smart object. So Zion Duke shadow on port, we'll just name it that, just so I know. And we're gonna use the blur tool, so 5.4, that looks pretty good. And then we'll drop down that fill. We're gonna drop down that fill. So it's a very slight shadow, but you can definitely see the difference between having the shadow there and not, trust me. Okay, so at this point guys, I mean, you could say, all right, we're done, but I like to add little color corrections and all those type of things, which is what you guys came here for. So one of the first things that I go and look for is a color balance, and it depends what type of photo I want to make. Do I want to make it look bright? Do I want to make it look dark? But me personally, I kind of just start by playing around with all of the different adjustments, and I just see what looks good and what doesn't, you know. So I'll use color balance first, then I might add a curves in, you know. Curves, I'll give you guys a quick tip as well. If you use curves and you kind of make hills out of them, you can kind of make the picture look more metallic-y and make it have that like Bleacher Report look, you know what I'm saying? Like you can make it look like that Bleacher Report edit if you make hills. See how it brings out different parts and highlights different parts like that, and I love that about it. So this is before curves, this is after. See how it just like brought out everything and made it look so much more vibrant and like full. Okay, and after that I look at my color lookups, guys. I have a color lookups tutorial. If you guys haven't checked that out yet, make sure you guys definitely go do that. I'm gonna experiment with some color lookups, because look at all the ones that I have, guys. I haven't even like made a list of my favorites because there's just so many, but I experiment with the color lookup ones. I'm gonna link that down below so that you guys know what color lookups that I use. But definitely utilize your color lookups. I'm gonna find one that I really like, and I'm gonna come back to you guys, because you can actually adjust these color lookups further after you select one. Alright, y'all, so I found that I really like this color lookup number 3 that I have. It's called YouTube Studio.cube. Like I said, I have those tutorials out there, but now what I like to do after that is I like to actually add another one. But I usually like to add a darker one, and then from the darker one I clip it on, and then I'll add a little levels. Usually add levels just to adjust what you have. And you can also add a gradient to your color lookup, and the gradients, when you add those to your color lookup, it's gonna bring out a lot of color. Because watch, this is the difference. It's like adding a what do they call it? One of those things when the vignette, I don't even know how to pronounce it. It's like vignette or something like that. You guys roast me whenever I try to say it, so I don't even know, but that's what you can do after that. So add that vignette, I don't even know how they pronounce it, man, but add that on there and use your levels. Just adjust accordingly, man. This is all up to you at this point. You got to make your own decisions in this art community. You just got to make your own decisions and just what you think is gonna look best, man. It really comes down to what you think, not what other people are thinking you should do. And then for the hand, guys, I'm gonna play on the hand a little bit, because I'm seeing that I could add another curves, right? The hand's gonna be the darkest part here, so let's play a little bit with the light. That's what I like to do. I think about where the light's gonna be. That's why you guys should get into drawing. You think about where the light's gonna be, and then you're gonna hit that curves are gonna hit harder with the light, where the least light is gonna be at. So start adding a little bit of that. Just make it like the contrast, man. So see the difference before and after, and it looks like the light would actually be down there. So that's not a hard thing to do. It's just the little details that make so much more of a difference, man. Okay, guys, so at this point you could say, all right, this is looking pretty good. So I might what I usually do is I merge them all together into a new layer, so I can go back just in case. So merge them all together into a new layer. So it's called layer 3. I'll make it a smart object usually. Then I go into camera raw filter, right? This is pretty much Lightroom, but it's on your PC. The difference between Lightroom on your PC and your phone is that your phone has different color codes, so it looks different on your phone. That's why you have to always adjust it from when you transferred it from PC to phone. But for that case, it's fine. And then on camera raw, pretty much just use whatever you think. You can adjust the highlights so the whites will pop out more. You can lower the highlights so they're not going to pop out more. You know what I mean? Just use what you think looks best. And this is really looking pretty realistic right now. So don't do too much and make it look goofy. That's what you don't want to do. Don't do too much. Just do what's gonna make it look the best. Just make sure everything's blending in with each other and everything's looking cool. There's so many of these tabs down here that you can use, man, but we don't need to worry about those tabs. But right here, guys, that's pretty much the tutorial, man. I showed you guys a good amount of stuff, how to utilize curves, how to utilize selective color, your color lookups, and once you guys get all of this stuff down, it just becomes second nature. And it's really just all about repetition, just repeating, and then eventually you're just gonna be like, damn, this is actually really easy now, man. So I appreciate everybody that stopped in for this tutorial. If you guys have more tutorials that you want me to let you know about, make sure you comment those down below. And I see y'all that haven't subscribed yet, so make sure you hit that subscribe button, man. Until next time, it's been Howto Scope, man. You guys stay up now, and I'll be back soon. Peace.